How should your resume look to get you an entry-level tech job? A career in tech can mean many different things, such as software engineering, testing, product management, UI design, project management, and many other domains. It can also mean switching jobs from different domains. For example, a Java developer can change their job to pursue testing. Your resume should be formatted and presented in a certain way regardless of what role you are applying for. An entry-level resume must follow a specific format to ultimately get the candidate an interview and a job. It is important to emphasize that resumes can be presented in different ways, but the content must be of high quality and include certain elements. It is so critical to emphasize that 99.99% of the time you need a well-written resume to get that entry-level tech job. On average, a recruiter spends 6 to 7 seconds looking at a resume of a candidate before moving them to the next level. The potential employer does know that you do not have 10+ years of experience for an entry-level job. It is just common sense for an entry-level role. However, a resume should demonstrate your education, skills, and basic experience to show that you are a good candidate. We'll now focus on how your resume should look when applying for an entry-level tech job by breaking it down into sections. An entry-level tech resume must contain sections for the header, education, skills, and experience. The projects, awards, and volunteer experience sections are optional on your resume but are a great way to differentiate yourself from the crowd. I will discuss each section in detail now. Header section. A header should always be included on every resume. A header must appear at the beginning of every resume. It is recommended that the applicant's name appears at the top of the header section in a large font. Email and phone numbers should also appear in the header section. You should never provide your exact address on your resume, but instead keep the location as general as possible. If you live in New Jersey, you can simply write New Jersey, USA. You can also include your LinkedIn profile and any portfolio links you have. Education section. Education section should consist of your college degree or degrees if you have more than one. In the education section, you should include your college degree, certification, training, and any courses you have taken. If you are in the process of pursuing a college degree, then you must have it on your resume and indicate the expected completion date. It is fine if you do not have a college graduate degree in computer science. It is nice to have a bachelor's degree or master's degree in computer science or a tech-related field. However, the requirement is not mandatory. There is also a possibility that you have completed a certification in tech or a boot camp. Boot camps and certifications are both good to highlight on a resume as well, because they help show that you have a certain level of knowledge. Any other additional training that you have completed. For example, courses from Udemy and Coursera or other institutions are fine to showcase as well on your resume. A purpose of the education section is to demonstrate that you possess some knowledge of the position you're seeking. A college degree never translates to getting a job and knowing everything about the field. However, you need to show in your education either through a college degree or additional training that you have a certain level of knowledge. If you think from a potential employer's perspective, you would not want to hire someone who is not knowledgeable to do the basic functions of the job. Of course, there is always a learning curve, but if the learning curve means starting from the basics, then that becomes a problem. People don't want to spend all their time training someone to do their job. You give the potential employer confidence in you when you show them that you are qualified for an entry-level job through your education section. Remember that for an entry-level job, no one expects you to have 10+ years of experience. But they do expect that you know the basics. 2 examples on this. In your education section, if you mention a software development bootcamp, that shows that you can code when applying for a Java developer role. In your education section, if you have a computer science degree, that shows that you have technical knowledge when applying for a technical product manager role. In summary, it is so critical to know that an education section is a must on every resume. The skills section. I think we all understand that the world is just too big for anyone to know everything. And no one will ever know everything. Having said that, if your skills section does not include the core skills for the job you are applying for, you are already setting yourself up for failure when applying for that job. It is so essential to understand that you must mention at least 5 skills on your resume related to the job. 3 examples on this. When applying for a Java developer role, in your skills section, you must have Java as a skill. When applying for a technical project manager role, in your skills section, you must have project management and communication skills. When applying for a technical writer role, in your skills section, you must have writing skill. In summary, the skills section should focus on your specialty. Identify the areas where you excel and want to build your career. The awards section. The awards section is not mandatory. In this section, you should mention any awards you have won or anything that can be viewed as an award. This section can consist of awards, recognition, professional affiliation and membership and leadership activities. 3 examples on this. Academic achievement, received Dean's List recognition. Recognition, won 2nd place at a machine learning hackathon. Professional membership, outstanding performance in computer science. The experience section. There are many different types of experience you may include in your experience section, such as full-time, part-time, entrepreneur business, internships, fellowships, and programs. It is important to show the value you have created for the organization by using actions that demonstrate what you've done. It is so critical to understand that words are important. By describing the work you have done with precise and descriptive words, you can demonstrate your value in the experience section. In order to show yourself as a good candidate, you need to use action verbs. Action verbs include developed, created, tested, built, and managed. Like each individual, each resume is unique. A resume should at least mention 2 work experiences. In any case, it is a good idea to include at least 1 related to your field and the role you wish to apply for. It is ideal that you have good entry-level experience through jobs, internships, and fellowships when applying for an entry-level job. However, if you don't have any experience in your field, then use Forage, which allows you to complete a self-paced technology virtual experience with top firms. Link shared in the description if you are interested. No matter what kind of experience you have, be sure to list it on your resume if it is relevant and shows the skills you need for the role. It is possible to learn things for free in technology to add value to your resume and fill out your experience section if you think your experience section lacks content. Please refer to the suggested video provided for more information. The project section. It is optional to include the project section. However, if you do not have a lot of work experience, it is useful to showcase your work through your projects. Having a project section can help your potential employer gain confidence in your skill set, especially if it's based on the real-life work you'll be doing at the job. If you plan to have a project section on your resume, ensure that you have at least 2 projects. Your projects may include developing web applications, conducting data analysis, or analyzing products. Overall, the project section should help make your resume for the job more competitive and showcase your ability to excel in the position. The volunteer experience section. It is optional to include the volunteer experience section when it comes to employment. Employers look for leadership qualities. The best way to show you're making a positive impact on society is to show how you're helping the community. You can demonstrate that by volunteering. If you want to add to your resume, try at least one volunteering activity with a local nonprofit. This way, you will demonstrate your leadership skills and community involvement. This section is an excellent way for you to showcase your social good and leadership skills when applying for jobs. It is a known fact that every job has a number of applicants. You must demonstrate how your knowledge and experience distinguish you from the competition if you want to stand out. First impressions make a lasting impression on potential employers, so make sure your resume is well written. Hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.